Hello, my name is Adam Swatek. In this video, I will show you how to create a database using phpMyAdmin. Now, one of the first things we have to do to create a database with phpMyAdmin is download the program phpMyAdmin, which I've already done. Next, you need to use a server to run phpMyAdmin, and I've selected the WAMP server. This is for Microsoft systems or Windows systems. In addition to this, there's also a MAMP server with an M that you could use to run phpMyAdmin on Macintosh or Apple computers with the Mac iOS. So down in the bottom right corner is the W for the WAMP server. And you'll notice a little ways up is phpMyAdmin, and we will go to phpMyAdmin, which will open up in, I'm using Microsoft Edge. To log in, you could create a username, or if you don't need a password for your database, username is root with no password. So we'll log in here. I've already created a database. This is the food ordering database for CPT 310, week number 5. So I'll demonstrate what the different tables look like first, before we get into how to create the database. So when someone orders food, you'll have customers in a database. Here we have a list of customers by customer number, customer name, first name, last name, first name, customer phone number, address, city, state, zip code, email. I chose some of the basic information that you'll need to know or have as a customer in a database. Now this first column right here, customer number, this is our primary column, our primary key for the customer. You could have many John Smiths or many Jim Jones, but this customer number is unique to each customer. Some customers might have the same phone number or same address. So here, this is our primary key. There will be no two customers with the same number. And over to the left, I did similar with employees. Food orders is our, you create an order, and this will be connected to the primary keys in customers, employees. The employee would be like the delivery driver or who works for the food ordering company. Menu items, this would be several menu items for different restaurants for their food. These will also have a primary key for the item number. Next, I have restaurants. Diner was a lot easier to type, so I used diner number, name, phone number, all of the important information. You could have more information, but this is just what I felt was appropriate for this project. And then clicking up here on the top of our database, these are our tables that I've created. Up at the top right, this is a designer window. And this is an entity relationship model. So in the center, this is a food order, and this is how this database would relate to the different parts and different entities of ordering food. For instance, like I said, we have our customer number. So this would be linked to our customer. Notice there's only 5 different attributes in this table. When this table's referenced, you could have it linked to a list of, say, printout details for one order, which would have the customer's name and phone number, their address, and then what diner or what restaurant the food is coming from, which is down here to the right. You have your menu items listed, which your food order would likely have what item it is, how much it costs, and then here's your employees. So all of these are listed, connected together in the entity relationship diagram. So this is a model that we worked on throughout the past few weeks, and this program puts it all together for you. So it's kind of a neat feature. I've had a course in Python and a course in Java. That's as much as I know about programming languages, and once I started creating a database in MySQL, or MySQL as they call it, I found a lot of interesting things, because you could create this database by just typing in code, or you could create it by using these numbers or these buttons up at the top of the screen. Like for instance, for customers, we could create another column to the end of this structure right here up at the top. So we could add one more column after, say after email, if we wanted to add a column with, I don't know, something else, another attribute for the customer. So now that I've discussed how this database works, I will start to create this from scratch. Another cool thing that MySQL does is you could export your database in code right here. So here's the export button, here's import, but we're going to export this out, and you could export it into different formats, and we'll export it for this demonstration in SQL. All right, and this is the code for this database. So this is pretty interesting. We'll start a new database and use some of this information that I've created. So over on the left, we'll go to new. Also, right up here at the top, you could type in SQL, create schema, and we'll start a new one called food. And this creates a brand new one right over here. So we would populate this with tables. You could create a table name and a number of columns. And when you create the columns, you could tell it if you want it to be a character, numeric, and have a limit of how many characters each of those could have. So I'll create this table for customers. This code says it will drop the table if the table exists already, which we don't have any tables yet. So I'll copy this information and paste it right here. So this will create all of these attributes, and then right here, primary key, your customer number will be the primary key, which we have identified earlier. And in this code, the varchar varies characters. So this is limited to 25 characters for someone's address or for the customer's last name or first name. I'm sure there's instances where you might need more, but I figured it was a pretty good limit for this. So you don't need to have 25 characters, but you could have up to 25 characters. Now you notice right here for customer state, state abbreviations are 2 characters. So you need to enter 2 characters in here for the customer state. I had it for zip code earlier, but for 5 digits, it didn't quite stick. So we'll go up to the customers table, and this shows the structure. So this is all the customer's information. Now you could go to insert and insert the customer's information. Here's all the values. So you put a brand new customer in. I have another way of entering customers, so I'll use customer number 14, which we don't have. I'll put my name in, last name, first name. I'll put a fake phone number. Street address. And once this information's here, it says this was inserted up at the top. Now, if we go to our browse, so this lists the customer's information. You could also create a table or create a view that will print out or that will show a bunch of this different information. Next, I will create other tables that I had back on this database. All right, so I copied all of these from my code earlier. And I could just paste these in here. And this will create all of the tables that I had in my other database. Notice on the right we have customers, employees, food orders, menu items, and restaurants. So there's all my data, but if you notice, none of this stuff is connected together. I ran into one issue. Here you could create a relationship between the, we'll go between the customer number and we need to select a primary key. The primary key has a gold key right here, so we'll connect this to the customer number. Create a relationship, and now I ran into issues with this earlier. Relational features are disabled. So with the help of, I can't remember if it was Geeks for Geeks or another website, but I found this code that says alter table customers engine equals INNODB. So I'll put this in, and this will allow me to have relationships between these different entities. And I created a code for that. So these alter table food orders, the food orders is the one that's going to be linked to the customer number, the diner number, the employee number, and the item numbers. So this will alter the table food orders and connect the item number or employee number from that table into the ones in the other tables, the primary keys in the other tables. So we'll paste this in here. Go. So you could do all the busy work over in the designer table, and that has just been so finicky for me. Or I could use this code And notice how they're all connected to the food orders. And this just gives me a hard time moving these tables around. And then when I come back, of course, they're probably not in the same spot, but you could have a good idea how these all relate to each other. So next, we'll populate some of these, which I did a few minutes ago, but just with one of the customers myself. This, you can insert it like I did. Another way to do it is in the SQL tab up at the top. And here are my values. So insert value. This is all of the values I got for restaurants that I made up for restaurants, customers, employees, and menu items. So we'll paste this here. I'll explain it a little bit. So the first line, the first three lines, this is inserting customers. Insert into customers, the customers table. These values, so the customer number, last name, first name, phone number, address, street address, city, state, zip code, and their email address. So all of these, I made this in Microsoft Excel. I created formulas and typed in a bunch of stuff and copied and pasted this out of there. So we'll add all of this stuff to our tables. So now our restaurants are populated. Took some local restaurants. None of the other information is correct, but some of my favorite ones. So now you look at the menu items. We have 3 menu items in there. We have 3 restaurants under the restaurants. And then we have 4 employees, customers, and then we could create a food order. So this has not yet been done. Insert, and we could create order number 1 using customer number. And then here, these are linked to these are foreign keys in this table, but they're linked to primary keys in other tables. So I'll put myself as the customer, and I'll order something from El Super Taco. And then I have 4 different, we'll put Rogers, he is the delivery driver, and item. So there's limits that you could add in here. I did not get that far, but the item number will be this linked to the wrong spot, but this should be a carne asada burrito. So I hit go, and that creates my food order. So that food order is listed right here, and this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You get an order number, customer number, diner number, employee number, and an item number. Now I created one more thing. Create view. So this create view is another code. I'll explain that in a second. So we'll go up to the SQL tab. I'll create my view. Create view, orders placed. So that will put a new little drop down over on the left hand side. And in this view, it will have our food order, a food order number that we just found, our diner name listed to our diner number or restaurant number, menu item cost, customers, last name, first name. So this is all the stuff that I mentioned earlier that would be on like a ticket for a food order going out. So the delivery driver would go to whatever restaurant, pick it up. It'll say what food items are on there, the cost, and then the customer's address. We're not too concerned about the customer's or the delivery driver's address, but the diner's address would be important. If it's like an Uber Eats driver, they'd have to know what restaurant they're going to, and then quite possibly a phone number for the customer or the restaurant if the driver gets lost or needs help. So I just created this, and now I need to find it. So here's that. Oh, on the left here, here's my views, and there is my view. I could export that, and we could export it to PDF. And this is actually customer information, but when you use a view, I had some issues with that. So here's my orders placed. I have to work the kinks out of this, but ultimately it should just have all the stuff linked to order number 1 instead of every single thing that I have in there. But it's not too bad for a first attempt. I got a lot of things achieved that I wasn't sure that I'd be able to accomplish in a few weeks, but I'm more than pleased with what I got to. But definitely a lot of stuff you could do with a database, and a lot of things that I could learn from this point on. But I think it was a pretty good exercise, and thank you for watching.